Ow. Is audio working again?
Yep, you sound good. I'm on the right mic.
No. Switched.
Oh.
Default to default.
Always fun.
Yeah.
Right on the set.
All right. Quiet on the set. You're listening to WRFB Radio Free Britannia. Coming to you live from Deltona, Florida. 8 years plus and still running. Who'd have ever thought they'd last this long? Lunch with no other than the dynamic duo themselves, Laz and Jack.
Greetings, everybody. This is Les.
And this is Jack. Welcome to another glorious edition of Lunch.
Glorious.
Yes. And Jack. Because I am back in the seat or the saddle with the kitty right here. It is a Tyrion.
Very tentacle attack.
Yes. Yeah, but this one has claws that likes to use them. Yes. And don't forget, we do have giveaways open. So exclamation mark, I love free shit. Exclamation mark, bundle me to get into those giveaways because streamer bundles, Steam keys, something will be
Free
yours.
stuff. Free stuff.
Yeah, free stuff. And
not...
ignore the fact that Tyrion is like relocating my microphone.
Yeah, we can hear it as it goes further and further away there.
Yeah, he's like, fuck this thing.
It's exclamation Jack on, not exclamation Jack off.
Yeah.
You got it backwards there, Bridge Troll. But welcome to today's show, boys and girls. It is Monday, July 24th, 2023. Here inside and outside Shroud of the Avatar. And of course, gotta give a shout out to Lomir and say thank you to Lomir for filling in the guest host position last week, and point out the little note that was left for Lomir here.
Oh? I like Lomir as a sidekick.
Yeah. Let's throw this up on.
Yes.
This comes from Edward Rothel. It's been a great week. I like Lomir. Oh, it didn't. Yeah, my thing broke because I didn't check it
You didn't
today.
do it.
I didn't check it today.
Yes.
There it is. Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, somebody liked you out there, Lomir, even though it was only one person.
Yes.
Just joking
It's
there,
all good.
buddy.
It's all good.
Just joking, buddy. But somebody noticed. That's all I got to tell you.
By the way,
Yeah.
today's my birthday.
Well, happy
Oh,
birthday.
it's
You know what that
Lomir's
means.
birthday?
You know what that means.
I do.
Oh, where's that sound effect?
Happy birthday, Lomir.
Thank you.
Oh man.
You fucking old fart.
Yes.
How old are you, Lomir?
54.
54. Not bad.
Congratulations.
The old double nickel next year. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you got your AARP card yet?
Not yet.
You're 4 years behind, man. You could have got it at 50.
Yes.
They changed it up. You no longer have to be 55 to get an AARP card. You can get it at 50 these days. But anyway, is good to be back with Jack, and of course, get back on track with our normal cadence
and a cat that's attacking my arm from multiple angles, just to say, pet me.
Now, let me see
Yes.
this. Is this
I
related
think-
to the other topic? I'm guessing it is.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It definitely is.
So,
I just have one jack on.
let's
Yes.
this will be, I guess, the
bulk of the show, unless we get lots of bits and people want to talk about games or play marbles. Yes.
well, we have
some
to actually
bits.
start with the forum post, and then there's an article. Yeah, so let me move this other head topic down below that. We'll maybe get to that tomorrow then, because
yeah.
I don't know, maybe for the second half of the show on that topic.
Maybe.
But
It all depends.
Let's get to the forums, and thanks to our good buddy Crafty Method.
Yes.
Likes poking the bear.
Do we need to talk about this new PC Gamer article with a poll with options? This sounds awesome. When's the Kickstarter? What have we been doing the last decade? Meh. This seems okay. Soda needs its own separate life cycle to whatever this is about. YOLO! Rename Soda to Barbie Goes to Fantasyland. Profit! And,
I mean, jump on that Barbie train?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Chris Spears does have Barbie experience with like riding horses and things like that. So that is possible. It is a distinct possibility.
And he has a big pink house.
Yes.
By the way, did you see what Conjure Dragon said?
Where?
He says, "Could we swap Jack for Lomir?"
Yes.
We did that last week.
Yeah.
But not on the regular basis, because then I'd have to change the name of the show and change everything else, and I'd have to lay off Jack, and that's not going to happen because Jack's been my partner for just about 10 years now, and I like it this way. I think he likes it this way too. So
whatever.
Like you need to do this like you need another hole in your head, but you do it anyway because we have fun doing it. That's right.
Please put the hole right here. right here. And make sure it goes all the way through, please. But yes, Crafty Method with a link to an article on PC Gamer. And he says $37.3 billion. That's a lot of program. Pitch sure does sound familiar. Hasn't there been a Kickstarter already for something similar? You ready to go to the article, or do we want to continue these comments
Well,
first?
continue these comments because
Okay.
the last one's a kicker.
Yeah. Billions of dollars. We should probably wait until their stock falls a bit in price, as most other company game producers did before. Cora with, he could probably get catnip for a lot less. Oh, man. But PC Gamer with the article.
We'll cover that there, Tina. We'll cover that. Hold on.
Yeah. Richard, Lord British Garriott, still wants to make Ultima Online 2. All we need now is to buy EA, is the title. And he's been pitching it to EA every 5 to 10 years. As the very successful launch of New World last year showed, there's still a big appetite for new MMOs these days, even if the heyday of the genre feels behind us. But what about a sequel to a classic? The father of Ultima, Richard Garriott, still wants to make a follow-up to what was arguably the first MMO, Meridian 59. Ultima Online so far hasn't had much luck. Spotted by Games Radar on Twitter, Garriott pitched a brief version of what a new Ultima Online could be like with original-ish PvP rules, but where the developers would do a better job of protecting the innocent and encouraging folks to embrace the danger of straying from the path of safety. Richard Garriott tweeted, perhaps a new UO, updated but originalish PvP rules, and a new solar player at Ultima 4, Ultima 10. All we need now is to buy EA. On top of that, he's keen to bring back single-player Ultima. The only thing that's stopping him is that he doesn't own the license. EA has locked up Ultima in its vault, though it's not languishing entirely. Ultima Online is still alive, currently under the stewardship of Broadsword, the same studio that will be taking Star Wars: The Old Republic off BioWare's hands. He has pitched the idea to EA before several times, in fact. I repeat the process every 5 to 10 years. They start out saying, good idea, and then end on, well, no, after some internal reviews, we can't, or we won't. It's not a surprise to start still publishing a couple of MMOs. A risk-averse publisher like EA isn't likely to punt on a very expansive MMO in 2023. And while I would be thrilled to see Ultima Online 2 appear, I can understand EA's hesitancy given that Richard Garriott's last 2 MMOs were far from successes. Tabula Rasa shut down after only 2 years, while Shroud of the Avatar, the Ultima Online spiritual successor, never really found its footing. The assets and rights were sold to another studio, Catnip Games, in 2019 after Garriott had already stepped down as CEO of the original developer, Portalarium. So while Garriott is an important figure in the history of RPGs and MMOs, his influence has dwindled significantly, releasing only a single game in the last decade. Ultima's name doesn't hold as much weight now either, though I suspect a lot of MMO players my age would absolutely lap up a sequel, especially now that the kind of unfettered PvP that Ultima Online featured is so much rarer. Don't expect to see Ultima Online 2 get announced then, but who knows, maybe your Garriott will wear down EA or come up with a pitch that it can't ignore. Weirder things have happened.
Weirder things have happened. That's true.
Yes. Well, I love the fact that they include in here the spiritual successor to Ultima Online, Shroud of the Avatar, which is what we were promised. because Richard couldn't get the
rights
license
to
for
Ultima.
Ultima.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And I love the fact that he's also saying it's like, hey, he wants a heavy PvP focus.
It's not like UO.
Well,
Which, you know,
UO,
I don't see an in between. You know, I really just don't
but
see an in between.
that was originalish UO rules or PvP rules.
Yeah, well, what would you change at that point? I mean,
Well, I mean, he wants better protection for players.
yeah, they created a whole new thing, which even
Yeah.
has its own genre and own, uh, you know, what's the word I'm looking for?
Uh, are you referring to the fact that they fragmented the world into an open PvP, Feluca, and a Care Bear land, Tremel?
Trammies, yeah, that's right, Trammies. But what would you call
Yeah,
that? It's not a genre, but you know, its own
yeah,
offshoot. Yeah,
yeah. It was uh, a shard of the world, kind of.
yeah. NPC
Uh,
guards would be it. Well, we had the NPC guards, and you know what? The guards worked really well for how they were programmed in UO, and
oh yeah.
the problem was they were really only in the cities, which of course is where they should be. You shouldn't have guards out in the middle of the woods. It doesn't make any sense. You know, there's got to be some area where, you know, PvP. Now,
Uh,
I can tell you that when I ran a shard, we had a guy who pitched an idea, and we loved the idea so much that it made life difficult for the Reds. And that idea was that Reds could barely enter a town. I don't know how that actually worked in UO, I forget. But
is you could stealth in as long as you weren't seen or someone shouted guards in your
yeah,
presence,
okay.
because then you would immediately get guard whacked. If like you were on a screen and someone shouted guards, you got guard whacked even if you were hiding.
Right.
And thank
And
you
then
for those 300 bits.
Waldo underscore
Waldo!
Ptolemy just shared 300
with
bits.
300
You
bits.
got a
Thank you,
mystery
Waldo.
gift, Waldo underscore Ptolemy.
But I still think it's hilarious because Shroud of the Avatar, spiritual successor. But what did after, because the Shroud of the Avatar Kickstarter began before Star was a part of the project. Star is very anti PvP. So
Well, with that,
what happened?
I'm going to stop you for a second. Waldo's going to get himself a mystery game key. And his game key is going to be an Elder Scrolls Legend Battle Spire, going to Waldo. Thank you, Waldo. And come on. I just want to see. $5.99 on Steam.
But all of the lessons related to PvP from UO were completely ignored. And not only that, but Richard worked on several games with core PvP rules on it. Besides UO, remember he was also worked on Lineage and
Waldo.
Lineage 2. As a
Yeah, so
executive
let me
producer or
finish
something
what I
like
was
that.
saying there. Is what we did was we made it so there was only one banker in the world that would deal with the Reds. He couldn't go to a regular bank. He had to go to a banker that was hidden in the hidden vale, a hidden valley, I should say.
Why not Buccaneer's Den? Because that was the Red hangout anyways.
Because this was a shard, not the actual thing, and you know, it was just, you know, people hung out in Buck's Den to do other things.
Yeah.
No, we had Buck's Den, but you know, people, you know, lived there, worked there, traded there, you know, trained there. But the catch was is that the idea was, yeah, better red than dead. I like that comment. But you know, the idea was it was a way to say, listen, if you're gonna play one of them cutthroat thieves and turn red and piss people off, well, your life is going to be difficult because you only have one place in the world And once the location of that banker was out, well, anybody who wanted to prey on PvPers knew exactly where to go hang out, and wait for those guys to come around to do their banking. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
we made it tough for Reds, and we had a couple guys who played good ones and were able to play within the rules, but for the most part, we had more harmony in the game by making it harder on that lifestyle. Is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
Is
it's like, I mean, this goes back to the original Shroud like comments. Like, there's so much promise to the game and the game world.
Yeah, now Maynard says most peeps are afraid of open PvP, but once you played, you knew where you were able to go. Then I could kill Reds. Fun times. Now I'm going to point out, a modern genre of games, and I'm going to point to, the two most obvious, which is GTA 5 Online and Redemption, both by the same company.
Rockstar.
You just don't get those options. Hang on, I got to take this phone call.
Okay. And don't forget to mute your microphone there, Laz.
Hello.
Laz, mute. There. That's better. But yeah, I mean, it is one where it's like Shroud of the Avatar, spiritual successor to UO. Hey, we're going to do all these things. Virtue is going to be important. You're going to have multiplayer. You're going to have, hey, Richard sketched out all this different faction shit like 8 years ago, never implemented. The PvP crowd asked for a ton of additions to make PvP worthwhile in Shroud, like a faction system. And it's like in that faction system actually designed by Richard actually had 4 different factions that would work together. On this show, Laz and myself talked about a lot of faction information, like making control points useful and functional and make them like PvP zones. Yes. And from there, like whoever controlled that control point and held it would like receive like portions of like taxes and things like that. And then it's like you'd have an alliance system. Yes. Yes. Even old games like Daggerfall or of the and Daggerfall was Elder Scrolls 3, I believe. Or was it 2? Oh yeah. Yeah, it was buggy. But I mean that was from like late 90s. Lots of browns. That was back when browns were the dominant color. Although I did start playing a game with lots of browns too, but it like so much promise. But at the same time, this is when like Star was brought on board. Star was very anti PvP, anti like Wild West kind of things. And so when you start thinking of like Star as coming on board as the executive producer, having a huge bias against PvP, that means PvP got sent to the wayside. Chris, on the other, said that like, hey, he was interested in PvP and had some groups that to discuss PvP rules and things like that. But the only thing that ever really came out of that was Shroud math. The changing of different functions of, hey, what are we going to do with Shroud math to make things balanced? And so that was the extent of it. It's one where if you're in a guild and you declare a guild war, that just flags your entire guild for PvP in Shroud. And not only that, I mean, you can set the war conditions, things like that, blah, blah, blah. But it's very, very half-assed. And so you need to think of like a lot of the early players that quit were based off of the, hey, we were promised all of this shit. But yeah. Oh yeah. Chris's anti-RMT was absolutely more harmful and the backsliding, the creation of heritage items, vault items, the not realizing what the business model. Yes, half-assed soda. Say it isn't so. But yeah, hopefully Laz will be able to get off his call in the next 30 minutes. But the irony here is that Richard wants to do another version of Ultima Online, but he wants a focus with PvP, which is hilarious, right? I mean, note the irony that he was the CEO of Portalarium for 10 years because Portalarium created like Ultima Collector, which was a mobile game. Then he also was working on a card game for a bit, and all these things that like what is the focus? What do they need to bring into an MMO? There are several MMOs that have massive PvP elements that are much more successful. We have to change the working model of Shroud of the Avatar to increase the number of players. What would do that? Developing PvP stuff. Because as soon as you start changing those rules, the reason for the shard falls in Shroud was unique resources and more resources than any other scenes related to, hey, this is a very dangerous area. And so we're going to give you a lot more resources and try to incentivize you to go there. But what never happened as far as the implementation goes? One, they didn't really increase the resources. They didn't incentivize really people to do that. And they gave everybody a bonus to their XP gain for just being PvP flagged. That is that XP bonus to farming other shit, not to player race versus player combat. And that's why whenever we come into Shroud and we joke about the fact that both Laz and myself are top 10 PvPers because we have been on the leaderboards multiple times. And you can look at like over the weekend on Sunday, the last 24-hour time period, the number of PvP kills was 3 players, with 1 kill and 1 death being number 1. 7 days, you end up with, you've got a top 4, but it is actually 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 players. With the top PvPer in the last 7 days with 2 kills. Yes, the PvP bonus should be limited to XP gained from PvP combat and nothing else, which means that they would also have to fix how PvP combat is done as far as XP gain and loss. Yeah. They watch the PvP zones and run people out if they see certain mobs die. Hemswald back in the day had a program that was selling Shroud Assist or something. You could type a mob name, and whenever the mob died, it told you and where. So there is no cat and mouse in PvP. They know exactly where you are. Just last week, Vesper and his guildmates ran you out of the fall. Literally no one on. No one even knew I was there. Happens every time. Yeah, which is probably a problem with like the public's API stats. There would need to be some sort of delay on those. And Bridge Troll would rather have Tina as CEO than Lord British. And Tina, go make a smash the ones that aren't EU game. And Bridge Troll saying, this is bullshit. I just stopped going to PvP zones. And like the fact that you can also like hide your location, like Applesauce Pants or Coswald or Vesper, but that is also relatively easy to defeat with the pledge item of the Findoro's Tablet of Findings, so that way I can tell everybody that Vesper is currently in the fall. But yes. And so they can watch the public stats for the API, see who's in scenes, what's going on, even though things are much easier to do. But it's like we have hemorrhaged players left and right. Years ago, Chris said he's going to rip off the Band-Aids. Realistically, Band-Aids have never really been ripped off. We are still dealing with was it 2 or 4 times the original XP required for things? And applesauce. It's the mobs. He was killing the Aether Lich. So yeah, someone looking at the public stats saying, "Hey, notify me when an Aether Lich is dead, and who killed it. I'm going to go kill them. Go stalk them." Yes. And Bridge Troll's like, Chris is so embarrassed by all the shit he has said that he doesn't even show his face anymore. We haven't seen Chris on the forums since January. We haven't seen Chris on a live stream in 7 months, unless there was one last week and I completely missed it and Chris decided to show up. But I mean, he is the owner of Catnip Games. The absolute owner of Catnip Games. So, yeah. Last seen January 14th, 2023 on the forums. Hasn't been on a live stream in months. I mean, his LinkedIn profile says he's working for another company. Remember, we were promised that in November, after a small vacation that he had scheduled, he was going to be back on the project full-time-ish. And that hasn't happened. And the only appearance of Chris was when a deployment failed, and he helped with that, according to Ravalox. So, who's in charge of Shroud? Ravalox. What do we know that's getting done? No idea. This is immensely frustrating to be a Shroud player and have all those promises. Yes. Big question. Chris ain't been here. Seem any different? Well, the most number of players that were online in recent history were when Richard showed up. When Richard showed up and was in-game doing things, the number of player increased substantially. There was over 100 players online, which was a massive change. And you can see that was rectified on Steam charts. You can see that was rectified. No. Like the peak number of players, like when Richard came online.
Oh yeah, well we know that's never a true.
Yeah.
But you know it is a true indicator of things. The butt of the hour is a true indicator of things.
Well, there's only 2 people in on mine, and Lomir's getting a streamer bundle.
Well, I guess it was Lomir and Bridge Troll on mine, but Bridge Troll is getting it on my side.
Excellent. Yes. Yeah. So, Lomir, did you have anything to add on to my rant about PvP and the lack of it and the promises? No. Anybody else have anything to add now that Laz is back? And Laz, did you catch any of that?
I caught parts of it. Of course, I had a funny feeling this was going to happen today, because I brought my car in for service this morning, and I dropped it off about 8:30, and they said, "Okay, we'll call you with your quote and all that good stuff." And I says, "These cocksuckers hadn't gotten back to me." I said, "They're going to call me right in the middle of the show," which they did. Yeah, but
And not only that, they're gonna add a bunch of shit onto your what needs
actually,
to be fixed.
I did is just a 100,000 mile checkup as getting the things done that need to be done, and really not too bad considering what I'm getting done. So
Yeah.
little over $1,000 to get all sorts of shit done: flushes, fills, filters, rotations, tire pressure monitors, AC, power steering, brakes, all that. Not too bad considering. So, and then I'll be in good shape for quite some time.
Yes. And then hold on.
Well, I don't know. It told me there was only 2 people in there, Maynard. So maybe it just didn't update from. It does that sometimes. It just doesn't update in the window that we look at. It could be 20 people in and we only see 2.
Yep.
Well, let's verify and make sure. Like right now, it tells me that there's nobody in there. And there we
Oh,
go. So
yeah.
I saw the Conjurer Dragon enter, so I saw his entry. So everybody else type in exclamation bundle me.
Yes. This is going to be open
There we go.
AI.
Now 2 people. There we go. Now 3, now 4, now 5. Actually, somebody's missing.
No, I've got
There it
0
is.
now. 1 in mine.
There we go. So
Ooh.
as I'm watching it, it's doing it right. But sometimes when we close the window, it doesn't
Yeah.
actually, do what it's supposed to be doing. But anyway, did we get to the tweet? Did you do the tweet yet?
We did not go over the tweet as of yet, but Richard did tweet out. I mean, if we go to the tweets related to this, and his idea is perhaps a new UO, updated originalish PvP rules, and a new solo player U4/U10. All we
That's
need
the
now
tweet
is
you
to.
put in there.
Sorry. Are we starting off with the awesome find, or are we going down and the tell me true?
That's where it tells me, awesome find.
Yeah. I had forgotten it was a very interesting time in Ultima history with a response by Richard Indamati with "Tell me this is true and when tell me it will happen," and Richard responding, "I hope to make it true eventually." What the fuck was Shroud of the Avatar, dude? Seriously.
Spiritual successor.
Spiritual successor.
Not sequel. Big difference.
Yeah. Semantics.
Yeah.
Semantics. Because if we look in the sky at that shattered moon thing, if it was visible, it is kind of visible a little bit in the clouds. That shattered moon is in the Shroud lore supposed to be Feluca and Tremel, the 2 moons that collided. Yeah. It's like, ooh.
It got hijacked.
Yeah.
Hijack.
How did Shroud get hijacked? By Care Bears? Yes, Tremel was the death of UO. Yes, Richard got shot down by the new non-PvP group, which included Star Long, the executive producer, who previous to that he had been working for Disney for years, and then also someone that an assistant lead developer at whatever company made Tabula Rasa, NCSoft, with Richard, who became the tech director, and the most successful game in his archive, I believe, is the Barbie horse riding game. not exactly people with strong backgrounds in giving people things.
All right. Well, the next
No,
topic we had on tap, I think I want to save till tomorrow.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, so, and then Bridge Troll is, wait, don't cut Richard a break. PvP ain't the worst issue. Why didn't Lord British get the whole virtue thing done? Well, so the whole virtue thing didn't get done mostly because the person that he hired to write dialogue and whose primary focus to writing dialogue and going through all of those elements spent over a year trying to write a conversation system. When that person said, "I'm not a programmer." And that was Lum.
Lum the Mad.
So when you start thinking, like, this is actually a debate that Laz and I had a long time ago, years and
Well,
years ago.
take,
No. This is actually related to the 3 paths, right? Truth, love, and courage. And so, like, for 6 years, they worked on the love path, and the truth and courage
got 6 minutes each.
got 6 minutes each. But before the truth and courage came out, Laz was adamant that the quest line would just be as comprehensive as the love one. And I was arguing, no, every time Lum writes a quest, it ends up in the game.
And I was also adamant that most characters would pick a mage character and start on the West Coast because everybody wants to have a mage, but they screwed the pooch
Yeah.
on that one too. Because I
Yeah,
know
well,
I
I mean,
always want a mage.
And that is all stuff that, I mean, it's like the fact that we still have 3 starting outskirts areas, but every single character starts in one fucking place still.
Yeah. Now, of
is
course,
problematic. Yeah.
I'm just going to say the same thing that I've always said. I can't blame Blum. I gotta
No, you
blame
can't blame.
I gotta blame the tech director because the tech
Oh,
director
absolutely.
is
Yeah.
the guy who gets the tech in, and when the tech director, aka Chris Spears,
Yes.
doesn't allow you to get the tech in, well, yeah. Let's
Well,
go back to
and assigns a
combos are
stupid
easy.
project. Yeah,
Combos are
easy.
easy.
Yeah.
Add those like nobody's business. Combos are easy. I've got flexible placement in. I've got the map system in. The treasure map system, I should say. You know, we've got it. We've got it. Well, we're still waiting.
Here's my proof of concept.
Yeah.
It is one where it's like, yes, like
You
so
know,
much.
Bridge Troll, it's easy to say that, but if you really know the truth, Richard hasn't wrote a game himself since the very early Ultimas. After that,
Ultima 3.
yeah, after that, he became an idea man. Here's the idea. You guys do whatever it takes to make it and do it. You know, he didn't have any of the programming. He was just, I'll give you the ideas and concepts, and when you come at it, you know, run it by me, and we'll go yes or no. And yes, Lum shouldn't have been writing code. True.
No, absolutely not.
We definitely agree with that.
The fact that he wasted a year on our conversation system, and as bad as it is, and it is one where you ask like Sanya what it's like to write a quest in Shroud, and he's like, "This is so fucking clunky. I don't understand what the fuck is going on half the time."
Yeah,
it is one where it's like, these things are very problematic.
And then to answer Bridge Troll, he says, so quit following him. His ideas fail. Well, you know, over the years, you know, Richard was somebody who many of us followed. And, you know, when the Shroud made its announcement, you know, I had very interesting thoughts about it on both pros and cons. And when it really inevitably came to, is he due for another success, or is he not due for another success? And my feeling was after, a couple of failed games, it was time for it to happen again. And unfortunately, that was a gamble I took. Does that make me like him any less? Not at all. Still love Richard.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. He's a
I,
good friend. Follows us
he's still,
daily,
yeah, yeah.
keeps up with
It
us
is
at
one.
least.
I wanted to include the fact that Richard, as the CEO of Portalarium, like he actually tried to actually remove the CEO title for Portalarium and actually say that he was essentially the chief idea guy. He wanted to actually focus on, hey, these are all the elements I want in my game. I want everything to be interactive like it is in the real world. I want this virtue system. I want your decisions as a player to have consequences in the game. I want all these things. And it was up to the executive producer, Star Long, to tell the other portions of the team what to do. He was the one responsible for delegating out what things are
Maybe I
supposed to be
shouldn't have
done.
taken that virtue system home with me, and I should have let him give it to Star.
Yeah, well, shit.
Well,
It's like,
we sat down in a pub one night with a couple other people. I think Winfield was there, I was there, and a handful of other people, and we talked about it. We laid it all out on paper towels and Sharpie in the pub. And
yeah.
I've actually got that sitting in my archives of what he envisioned and how it should work, and how they would overlap each other and not overlap each other, and it was a pretty cool concept, to
Oh,
say the least.
absolutely. But I mean, this is one where it's up to the executive producer to sit there and have conversations with the tech director, what things are possible, what things are not, and then implement them. It's the same reason that Unity was chosen as the game engine was Chris chunking up a scene and saying, "Look at how quickly we can do this. We can churn out all this content really quickly." And it's like,
Let's duplicate 500 player owned towns. It's real quick content.
Well, so Lord British not leading, I mean, that is a problem with the fact that at the time they were all in the office. Richard was doing his remote computing thing because his wife wanted to live in New York City, hates Texas. The office and all the developers were in Austin. And so you end up with conflicts there. Who is responsible for hiring staff that can produce? That was the executive producer and associate producer. So that is Rick Holtrop, Star Long as the producers, followed by Lord British. But if you look at majority of the
Did Dallas have any say in that?
Yeah. Dallas was the chief operating officer. So he was responsible for the business decisions.
Yeah, well, I mean, we created the Erie Fund. We went down and we dealt with Dallas on all that stuff. Not anybody else,
So Maynard's saying, I feel he hired too many too fast. So
you never have too many programmers and developers. Sorry.
Well, if you have a plan for things, you have to remember, like, their majority of the development before launch and before the massive reduction in force, they were only running with 30 people. They didn't jump up to 100 people ever, or even past 50. It was always about 30 people. No, they didn't really try that.
Oh, you don't remember Black Sun? You don't remember that other gaming company?
Well,
they tried. They tried.
Well, that was them getting capital to continue the development.
But I'm sure they would have picked up employees at that point, I'm sure Black Sun would have sent some of their people to work on it, or they would have worked on it from their point overseas.
Black Sun was only responsible for the Russian translation.
Yeah, but that would have picked up some other stuff. And then what was the other?
The one that made mobile games, Travian.
Travian Games. Yeah.
And that's because the CEO of Travian was a big time Ultima fan, and so he wanted to work with Richard. But that's one where it's like, yeah, Travian pumped in a bunch of capital to also work on funding the development, but their burn rate when they were working at capacity was like $200,000 a month, and they didn't have funds to continue that. The fun part is, remember, like after that massive reduction in force after Starr came back from his Mexican vacation, they fired the art department, the animation, art, story writing, almost everybody. They kept one person from art and animation, one person from world building, and released everybody else, and except for Chris's entire team for back end stuff. Yes, everything you need to make a game. So the only people that were fully maintained was the back end team.
Speaking of the back end.
Speaking of the back end. Ooh.
We're on the back end of this portion of the show. But
the good thing is that, like, the only way that you have this kind of history is by being present and knowing what's going on.
I don't know. Let's see. Did I give you this topic?
Possibly.
As designed, Pumpkinhead. We spoke about this last week, and we're going to recap this here. So if you want to bring this one up, we'll start with the recap, and then we're going to take a good laugh at certain things that Shroud historians. Yeah. There you go.
Pumpkinhead is currently present in both the Plains Road Encounter, Drockfald Traveler, and East Vauban Foothills. This is not the Earth Harvest season when this boss NPC should be present. Please be aware that I completed the Get Pumpkinhead quest over 6 months ago, so that is not the reason for his currently spawning. Anpu's like, I am seeing this as well in East Vauban Foothills. Pumpkinhead is running around there. I have never done or even have the Pumpkinhead quest, yet with my last character reset, I'll assume the seasonal spawners are spawning him at the wrong time. And thanks for the report, issue 71550. I believe this is a problem to how we use a timed event script these days to manage when seasonal and ether monsters activate and deactivate depending on the time of year. We'll take a look. Actually, I wasn't paying attention to the dates. Seasonal monster spawning like the Luminous Activists had their appearance dates shifted a little when they became automated events. Instead of appearing according to when we manually post a new monthly release, which dates that sometimes shift, they are now fixed dates that switch on the 16th of certain months. For example, on July 16th, the Luminous Atavist stops spawning and Pumpkinhead starts appearing. On November 16th, the Pumpkinhead stops spawning and Krampus will start showing up. And just to be sure, so I can document this, in the Earth month of July, Pumpkinhead will start appearing in Nude Britannia.
Correct.
Fucking Shroud math for fall there, dude.
Yeah. Well, again, that's one of my points. We're going to have the Luminous Atavists, which are a fall Halloween thing. July, August, September, October, November, 5 months out of the fucking year on this Halloween spawning. I mean, couldn't. Time is hard, right? I know variables are hard, but it seems time is becoming harder.
Oh yeah. Yeah, variables are hard, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, that is a head scratcher slash bury your head in the sand or in the wall. Because yes,
You know, maybe extend the luminous atavis into August at least, and do it in August so it's a little closer. But that's a long freaking period for one of the timed. And I thought he had originally mentioned Krampus in there. Krampus comes out. Yeah, November
yes,
16th, Pumpkinhead stops spawning in Krampus. So, uh, you know, November, December, January, Krampus makes a little bit of sense. 3 months. And I thought they were all supposed to
yeah,
be about 2.5, 3 months.
seasonal.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're supposed to be 3
seasonal.
months. Yeah,
Seasonal.
and the rabbit is supposed to be February, March, April.
Well, that's the only one I
But
could see having a conundrum with because it's supposed to be over the Easter season,
Easter,
and
yeah,
Easter shifts, from what is it, March to April, or yeah, it shifts
yeah,
months every other year. So it's one year it's 1 month, another year it's another month, and it switches back and forth, which I can understand maybe spreading that out a little longer because of the conundrum of the holiday as it is.
and Tina's like, how I actually read that is we don't know how to make this sane, so we're just going to leave it like this.
Yeah, but Pumpkinhead in July, just yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I,
well, I mean, this is stuff where it's like
It's okay
time
to have a
management stuff.
pause.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's okay to have a pause in between. It doesn't have to be something all year round, guys. It doesn't have to be, one leaves, one comes, one leaves. It's a nice concept, don't get me wrong, but you don't have to do that. Just like we don't have to stick to contact Polish, which we don't do anyway, with three
yeah.
content releases coming up back to back, content. So don't say you stick to it when you don't.
Hey,
Same
Shroud
thing
Math,
applies here. Yeah, Shroud Math is probably the only thing that we can guarantee, and
it's consistent.
it's consistent is Shroud Math. Absolutely,
Yeah, but oh
absolutely.
man, it's like where are these decisions made? It's like silly things.
I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get
can't
it. But you know what I do get?
what do you get?
I get the fact that it's time to somebody else to get
Oh,
prizes.
a streamer bundle. Who is a streamer bundle going to? My nerd is getting a streamer bundle.
Hold on.
Congratulations, Maynard.
Tina says, uh, nom nom nom. There's my Doritos. Easter is
Yeah,
based on a lunar calendar, so it doesn't line up with the heliocentric calendar. Well,
heliocentric.
it, helio. It looks like hello to
Helio,
me.
revolving around the sun.
Yeah. But yeah, I really can't confirm that either because according to Ravlox, we don't do anything according to those holidays, right? Wasn't that
Yeah,
his
yeah,
take on
yes,
things?
yes,
We don't
yeah.
do anything according to those holidays. And Lomir gonna get himself the streamer bundle on my side.
Oh, who's getting a game key from me? What? We attempted to pick a winner 5+ times. Sadly enough, none of these 5+ were. What?
Got to restart your.
My slobs? My
No, no,
Streamlabs chatbot?
Streamlabs chatbot. Yeah,
Did that happen to you last week or something like that?
it did. It did.
That's fucking stupid.
It
Hopefully everybody's still in.
Yeah, they should be. It was with me. Lomir, go ahead and take that.
I'm waiting for it to do things. But while that's trying to load, let's see what Steam Key is going to be given out on my side. Oh, we've got a copy of Out Buddies DX that will go to somebody at Streamlabs chatbot. Right,
Yes,
we're
we
Out
totally
Buddies.
we have totally not Christmas trees. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Ta-ta for now, Bridge Troll. We'll see you tomorrow, buddy.
The fuck?
What happened
Okay,
this time?
giveaways. Oh, it's still doing the 5+ times.
You closed it completely?
Yeah, I closed it. Closed it.
Shut the whole program down?
Yeah, but the one thing I haven't done it like on my side do exclamation mark I love free shit. The only thing I didn't do was reset.
Hey, you shouldn't have to.
Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Conjure Dragon, you know
17.
we have upside down Christmas trees here in the game, right?
Okay.
That attach to the ceiling.
Roll D17. Okay, number 5 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ovagami is getting that game key.
There you go.
So,
and
Whisper Ovagami.
I will go ahead and
DX.
try my giveaway and see if it works fine. And Virtuous, you are the wiener.
What? Oh, I got disconnected. That's the other thing that it is.
Oh, that's why it wasn't working. And
Yeah.
Virtuous, you're going to get yourself a copy of Achtung Cthulhu Tactics on Steam. So congratulations to Virtuous and Lomir on my side. And of course, thank you to Waldo for the 300 bits today. As always, and the rest of you folks out there who join us each and every day, we love you guys and gals. And of course, without you folks, we wouldn't be here doing this for as long as we have been. And we do appreciate it. And we'll be back with more tomorrow, including more about maps, which we were supposed to talk about today, but we didn't. On tomorrow's show. Till then, I'm Laz.
I'm Jack.
And we are NBNN. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye-bye.